My Favorite Veterans is a collection of 28 wartime stories by Elinor Florence, an author in Invermere. Elinor joins us now, and Elinor, this book is really it's a continuation of your work with Bird's Eye View, your first release, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I published my first novel, Bird's Eye View, which is about a young woman who joins the Air Force in World War II, 2 years ago. And I researched so many veterans and interviewed so many veterans when I was doing my research that I decided to create a blog on my website called Wartime Wednesdays, and I've published those stories. But I decided to take a collection of my best interviews and self-publish them into a book. I kicked around a number of titles, and I finally decided to call it My Favorite Veterans because that's really what they are. They're some of my favorite people in the world.
There's even a gentleman from Australia in this book, lots of people from Canada, of course, and even some from here in the Kootenays.
There are 28 stories altogether. 10 of them are based on interviews with local veterans from here in the Kootenay. And 3 of those 10 people are still living. Of course, we're losing our veterans at quite a rate now because they're all over 90 just because of the time that's elapsed since World War II. But the 3 that I've interviewed here who are still living are Jim Ashworth of Invermere. He's a former RCAF pilot. He flew a Hurricane over Burma in World War II. Joy Bond of Invermere, who is a member of the Women's Militia. That was a volunteer group of women who organized here after the men all left to go overseas to fight. And their duty was to protect this community in the case of an air raid by the Japanese. And the third is Bud Abbott of Cranbrook, who's very well known. He emigrated here from England after the war, but during World War II, he flew with the Royal Navy. He flew off one of those big aircraft carriers searching for German submarines. And in fact, he even bombed the German battleship, the Tirpitz.
Sounds like definitely some very interesting stories there. Now, you self-published this book, unlike Bird's Eye View, and part of the reason for that was these veterans who you mentioned are starting to pass away now, wasn't it?
Yes. It would take at least 2 years and possibly longer to have a book traditionally published. That's just the way it works when a book goes through the pipeline. And my veterans, I knew, wanted to see this book before it was too late. So I went ahead and self-published, and that only took a few months. It does mean, however, that my book is not available in bookstores. It's only available directly from me, or people can order it online from Amazon.
Is that going to be the only place that people can get it from?
Yes, for now. From me directly. You can telephone me or email me. You can also look at my website. There's more than you ever wanted to know about me on the website, as well as all the veteran stories. And I've interviewed other veterans as well and written other stories about Canadians in war that you can also read on my website for free.
We should also mention Bird's Eye View, your first novel, because that has just recently been named to the Canadian bestseller list. That must be pretty exciting for you.
That was enormously exciting, and what a surprise, because I live in this small community in this rural part of the world. I'm not exactly plugged into the national literary scene. So it was quite a thrill when my book achieved bestseller status in both the Globe and Mail and the Toronto Star in 1 week.
All right, Elinor, well, thank you very much for joining us on Go. That's the new book, My Favorite Veterans, from author Elinor Florence. Of course, available at amazon.ca and at elinorflorence.com.